Hello and welcome to another episode of the Plus63HP Podcast Reviews Edition. I am one of your hosts, John Clemente. Alongside with me are two of my bestest best friends. First up, the man in red, the man with a pink headset, the man who was with my mother in the jungles of Peru researching spiders, is CHUBAX.
Hello, yes, CHUBAX, your co-host today, and I'm so excited for our review today.
Me too. Our other bestest best friend on the call today, the man from the West Coast, the man that walks the streets of, I'm assuming, New York, barefoot for no apparent reason, is Arnie.
That would be a more interesting movie. Yeah. Hi. Good morning. Hello there. Yeah.
And if you have not seen any of their episodes, the Plus63 HP stable of podcasts has a couple of different shows, including this one who drops usually earlier in the week, Mondays and Tuesdays. We deep dive into a particular TV show or a movie of the week. We discuss it, we give our opinions, we give our ratings, so you have a little bit of an insight whether you should watch it yourself with your friends or your family. We also have our very first D&D campaign running almost 2 years now. That drops usually middle of the week around Wednesday. A couple of middle-aged guys and a little lady finally got into D&D, recorded it for posterity, and we're sharing it for you guys as entertainment. Maybe you can join our adventures as well. We also have a show, usually dropping around Thursdays, a collection of featurettes, clips, short videos, trailers that we react to and see whether we are hyped for that particular content. So that's pretty fun as well. And on occasion, CHUBAX and our other bestest best friend, RJ, can't get enough of D&D, so they spin a second campaign where they are bad guys. So we have a lot of content dropping almost regularly for your viewing pleasure. On this particular episode, we are discussing one of the cinematic masterpieces
The
that
hype.
dropped in 2024. Did drop in 2024, right?
It just dropped last month, I think,
Yeah. It dropped February 12th, 2024.
and it's out on
Um,
digital already.
already out in digital because we just
God, I wonder why.
we just want a lot more people
Yeah,
to
and just
enjoy
you have to share it.
this piece of art. But before I pass it along to CHUBAX and Arnie for initial non-spoilery reactions about the video, a bit of stats of this topic of discussion for today. Madame Webb, directed by S.J. Clarkson. If not really a familiar name. A lot of her IMDb list or her expertise are from episodes of TV, but these are not
Okay.
particularly like bad television shows. You have Anatomy of a Scandal, you have Succession, you have The Defenders from Netflix, you
This is the
have Jessica
director. The
Jones from
director.
Netflix. Yeah, she directed 2 episodes of The Defenders, 2 episodes of Jessica Jones. Vinyl from HBO is a
Succession as well.
underrated series. Succession as well.
Oh, so it's not her
Uh,
fault.
Vinyl, huh? I wonder which
Vinyl,
episode.
yeah. So, but she has Heroes 3 episodes, Dexter 3 episodes, a lot of very recognizable
Yeah, so
series here with top
it's not
stars.
it's
So,
not gonna be her fault.
well, I don't
No,
know.
it's
I mean, in the end, it's
it's
like
not the. Well, okay. We could talk more about those. Whose
yeah,
fault is
that's
this?
if your name is on something, you're part of that fault. But the screenplay was written by Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless. They also they don't have a long list of discography in terms of the movies that they wrote. But I think the most of note is Morbius. So yeah, that's a
Oh,
little
okay.
flag there. But
So I think
they
it's
wrote
his
Morbid
fault.
time.
yeah,
It's Morbid time.
they wrote the most recent Power Rangers, which I thought was a good movie. Gods of Egypt. That's a little one of those. We just have a lot of money for visual effects and a couple of stars. Let's do that. Last Witch Hunter, which is one of those
I like that. I
Vin
like that.
Diesel movies, and Dracula
Elijah.
Untold. That's eye candy thing with
I like that too.
yeah, that was pretty decent movie. So again, um written, but also S.J. Clarkson was part of the screenplay credits here. Starring Dakota Johnson, everybody knows 50 Shades of Grey. Sydney Sweeney, everybody knows her tits. Isabella Marced, very popular lady too.
Yeah, she's
Uh,
very pretty.
yeah.
Isabel,
Dora herself, Celeste O'Connor. Celeste O'Connor is among the three major lead ladies.
Where have I seen her? I've seen her before though.
She is from a Ghostbusters Afterlife. She is like
Oh,
the
okay.
love
So that's her.
interest.
Okay.
She's also going to be in the upcoming Frozen Empire. Um, and Freaky, which is that body switch movie with Vince Vaughn. She's there
Okay.
too. So, not too bad.
She's
Ooh,
pretty too.
yeah. And we have a couple of minor interstitial characters here, which most of which most notably Adam Scott of um
Parks
uh
and Rec.
Parks and Rec, but like the HBO series that
Severance.
is Severance is just killer everything. Mike Epps, who had probably like 2 minutes story time.
Mhm.
I don't know who Tara Heyman and Emma Roberts are, but they're there as well. Again, it
Emma
only has
Roberts
a
is
runtime.
Peter Parker's mom.
Is Mary Parker.
Mary Parker, yeah, but like I've never seen her in other movies
Emma
before.
Roberts? She's been in a
Eh,
lot of slasher. She's the niece of Julia Roberts.
Yeah, but you're right. You're right. It's very familiar. It's just like one of those things.
Scream, American History, American Horror Story.
Was she in Pitch Perfect? But I don't think it is. But a
No.
lot of slashers, you're right. Scream Queens. There you go. Um, yeah, it is. It has a runtime of 116 minutes, so just shy of 2 hours, which
thank God.
is
Too long.
maybe like 100 minutes long. It only has a budget of 80 million, which we'll discuss. For me is you know fairly impressive for what the things that they've done, and a box office of an astounding, I'm very impressed, $97.2 million. And for those
Oh,
people out there who are thinking about, or like, oh, they made more than their budget, when we're talking about movies, the criteria, the boundary is at least twice. So if you're double your budget, you're good. And then if you're triple, that's when we're starting to say that it's great. So at $80 million, you'd get to see positive returns once you hit $160 million. So this movie is way under that. So those are the stats. It's on digital
yeah.
right now, which is
I think I spoke with my wife about this one that Lisa Frankenstein made more money technically than this one.
there you go. I
And
think a lot more movies made more money than this. Like past lives made way more money than this with like a fraction of the budget. But
Mhm.
before we dive into the synopsis and the more of our thoughts about Madame Web, Arnie, what is your non-spoilery initial reaction about this movie as soon as you finish this?
Thank God for Sydney Sweeney.
Okay. In depth, Chubax.
Uh yeah, this is like, I don't know, it's like uninspired. I guess this is the word.
Cash grab.
I mean, it didn't look bad visually, but I don't know. There's just like, there was no there was no heart. There was no emotion, no connection.
Mhm, mhm.
I didn't feel for the characters, for the story. It's just
Like
like, I will get
it's
into the
really
nitty
yeah
gritty,
yeah.
but
I can agree with you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
John.
actually, I know this scored very, very low. Has very, very bad reviews everywhere. What I will say, it's not that bad. It's bad. It's bad.
I agree.
It
When
it
my
isn't. It
I don't
is.
know. For me, it was
my
as
wife
bad.
asked me,
I think it was
so
as bad as I expected it. And like I was
I
telling Jong, IGN scored this a 5 and Damsel a
Yeah.
3. That's I I
I don't
vehemently
agree with the.
disagree.
I don't agree. I don't agree with the scores of both movies. I think Damsel would have been way higher. This could have been a lot lower. But from the reviews that I've listened to the week of this launch about people like saying that this is so bad that it's gonna have a cult following, it's not that bad. Like I don't think it's gonna have a cult following
yeah.
because it's not that bad. It's not like Rocky
Uh,
Horror Picture Show
no,
bad. It's not like
I don't think it's gonna be a cult because usually those cult following movies they have an element of fun.
and they
You know
have
Mhm.
what I
character.
mean?
And they have
Yeah,
character.
and
And
Yeah.
that's why I
it may
agree
suck,
with
but
you
there
that
are moments where this was just like ah
So
blah.
yeah.
I don't
no,
know.
that's what I agree with. Like I don't think this is gonna have a cult following because it doesn't have that love in it too. So
It's
that's what I
just-
think. But it's not that bad. It's not as horrible as people I have seen. But the point that my thing is because it's not that horrible, it means it's not going to be memorable for the future.
it's not. It's
Mhm.
not.
Right.
And
That's my thing. That's why I was so surprised when I saw this. I was like, all right. I mean, okay. It's way longer than expected. Of course, there's plot holes that could have been written. There's something about I want to figure out what happened with the ADR of Ezekiel Sims. Why every single line that he had to be dubbed over. That's the thing that fucks me
because
up the
Oh
it's
most,
yeah.
fucked.
right?
Well, before we
So
continue, let's welcome our
let's welcome
special
our
guest.
fourth chair, Danny
Yes,
Boy. How are you doing?
Good. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
a
We can
little
hear you.
weak. Make it a little. If we can make it a little louder, we can hear you.
No,
But is it,
this is what you get.
there we go. Yeah, there. That's better. That's better.
Wait, Danny Boy, were you able to watch Madame Webb?
No, he's here
No,
to see our
I'm
reactions,
doing.
and then next week, if he makes it back, he'll uh agree or disagree with our. He will review our review.
It would be
He will review our
Yes.
review.
all
Hmm.
right. But yeah, so that's the case. Like I've heard reviews. Like I've just finished listening to the reviews of the Ringerverse crew, the Midnight Boys, and they are ripping this to shreds. They
I
think that this was like 2 hours of wasted time. I don't think it's. Yes, it's a waste of time. I wasn't puking at the end of it. To be honest, my personal opinion, I think Aquaman was a little worse.
I don't know.
But Aquaman was funny.
Yeah, but Aquaman was
Yes,
funny. It was trying to
yes.
be funny. I just thought that Aquaman was a little worse because you can really see, like, even if you didn't tell me that Jason Momoa was going through a divorce during the shooting, I thought like, oh my god, he's going through something. So this one is just like the perfect word CHUBAX already has mentioned. It's just uninspired. Like none of them think that they are. I don't think that they're enjoying their time. They're just like running through the lines.
Hmm.
Dakota Johnson was like, "All right, okay, you're acting a little bit." That's how I would react around three obnoxious little ladies too. But yeah, everything else, like I don't know Ezekiel Sims is the thing that confuses me the most. Like what's up with that character? But with that, all right, that's the initial reactions. Let's
Oh
just
my
dive
god.
into the plot so that we can interject and talk about all the things that had happened there. All right, I'm gonna sort of open it up. Who wants to do the synopsis?
Fucking do it.
Oh,
I will.
Right.
there's a plot.
I'll
There's
go through
I
it.
think the plot was very clear. Like,
Really? Is it?
yes, the mother went to the jungles of Peru to research spiders.
Okay, so apparently her mom, what's her mom's name? Uh, did I even
Oh, we
say it?
forget.
Constance.
Constance
Constance.
Webb.
So Constance Webb. Of course, it's Webb. We start in the jungles of whatever jungle, and she's
root
pregnant.
bear.
She's like in the last month of her pregnancy, looking for spiders, something about the healing spider and stuff. And then when she finally finds this particular spider, her bodyguard, who's supposed to be protecting her, Ezekiel Sims, am I correct?
Mhm.
Shoots her and steals the spider. Why? We don't know. He goes with a speech about uh being like was that like not getting his due or something like that, like what he
Basically,
deserves.
he
Basically,
told
he's
her,
been researching or looking for the spider and the Las Arañas people as well
yeah,
to get there. Not
and
only
basically told her like you have white privilege.
Something like that.
you have he wants the spider to get the legendary
The
powers that
powers
we've seen, while
Mm-hmm.
Constance wants to make it into a cure.
for a medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So as she's shot with a baby, I think even it's like in the abdominal area. The Las Arañas arrive, and this
They could not have done that earlier.
no, and
Well,
the
they didn't want to show.
no, but this is what I'm talking about. This is how many Spider-Man movies has Sony done? Like 3, 2, 3. So that's
Mhm.
8, right?
Mhm.
And the shots of
Morbius,
And
the
the
well,
Miles
Morbius,
movies.
Venom.
plus the Miles movies.
But
And
plus
these
Miles
Las
movies was
Arañas,
Venom.
the movements were like, it's just,
Oh no, they did not have any budget. They had what, two people
it was
in the
just
Las Arañas.
somebody
They could only afford three costumes.
rappelling, and their costumes were so bad. What was that? It was like, Danny, imagine like the webbing in the suit, but instead of webbing, it's vines. And then there's nothing, there's no suit. It's just vines. And is it like body
I
paint?
actually preferred that because, like, why would they have real suits? They're in
No,
the
no,
jungles.
I understand. It makes sense. It just looks ugly as fuck. Did they
Yeah,
like? Did
so
they
they
do
could
like? I think they had like body paint or something to make it like
Yeah,
they had a
orangey
little bit
red.
of body paint. Yeah,
It just
yeah.
it did not look
I
good.
mean they could have just done either a Mayan or Incan
It looks
inspired.
so weird.
Yeah,
Anyways, they bring her to this uh
cave
I
secret
painting.
like
cave.
that you're all struggling to explain this to me. This is
So they bring Constance Webb to this pond in a cave. Why? We don't know, because apparently all she needed was a spider. So we don't. There's no explanation on what that pond was there of that
Well, they were
secret
trying to birth the
pond.
kid,
Okay, so
or they didn't
uh,
want to do it in the in public, or outside. I guess. My see, I didn't have any trouble with that, like bringing back the victim to the base. My problem was um Ezekiel Sims was trying to look for this spider for years, and then
Mhm.
this white lady from New York who's 9 months pregnant
fine.
found it within 10 minutes of the movie.
No, and
Mhm.
then she gets
Caught
bit,
it, put it in a jar, and started announcing it too. Like, I found it. Look. Okay.
and then the spider bites Constance, but says, "Fuck you, Constance. I'm just gonna give powers to your baby, but you're still gonna die."
You're gonna die.
I can I can heal anything except a gunshot
Except a bullet wound
and a
that
bullet wound.
technically
So,
can still be fixed by medicine in
and then we
1973.
get this fucking exposition of, "Oh, don't worry, I will be here when your daughter returns."
Well,
Is
For
that a
so
threat?
Christ's
I was
Is that a threat? Is that a threat? Is
Is
that a
that a
threat?
threat?
I was trying to think about, like, so one, poor writing. Like, one, like, why would she come back? Okay, sure. Let's say you have the foresight too.
Uh-huh.
You have the I can see the future too. Sure, right? Okay. So you're gonna say that your kid is gonna be back here looking for answers. All right. Not only have you ruined the, the movie towards the end, but also
Yeah.
now it doesn't make 100% sense, or you don't explain why Dakota Johnson or Cassie Webb will even come back to that place, right? So that's where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, come, that's just poor writing right there.
Yeah, and the thing is, okay, so she was born in the middle of the jungle, and then somehow still ends up in the U.S. with no
ends up in New
issues
York.
With paper, she has
with
a
papers.
Peruvian birth certificate and
Yeah.
everything. Well, they did say that she grew up in foster care, right? So,
Yeah, but still, again, for you to get to foster care in the U.S., you have to get to the U.S.
So anyways, we time jump
Okay,
to her
right,
being
time
an
jump.
adult in New York, and her. I didn't know this. Did you guys know this? That her partner was Ben Parker.
yeah.
I don't.
Oh,
Well,
I didn't know that.
well,
I didn't know
I
that.
was kind of, yeah, I was,
coincidence? I think not.
it
And
was,
then
for me, it was already kind of like the biggest complaint of the other reviewers that I've seen about this movie is like you have such a big Spider-Man name and you relegate him to a couple of
Big.
scenes that
Mhm.
is barely, has no real importance. Even
yeah,
like towards the end where
mm,
he has a little bit of role within the story,
it's
he
still not
doesn't do anything.
still
So,
nothing. Yeah. So we finally meet Ben Parker as a young man, and he's basically doesn't do anything, as you said. So, anyways, they're paramedics, and
Mm.
we just get this scene of them kind of banter around where they're both awkward socially and stuff, and then we get this locker room scene where uh they're talking, and Ben says she met someone, and it's so special, and then she didn't even, and when he was gonna drop the name, they something happened, like, or like they were talking about
they just look at each other.
no the
Like I
cookie,
called
the
for it.
fortune cookie, right?
Oh yeah.
They
Oh
open it
yeah.
and it's like they get distracted, so they didn't even say May. And then, oh, before that, uh, through random happenstance, she um Cassie meets or just cross paths with the three ladies.
Yeah.
So one is like a relative of somebody she saved, so they saw her in the hospital. The other
That
one,
first person that they saved
Sydney
is
Sweeney,
the
Sydney.
stepdaughter,
Sydney Sweeney, yeah.
Sydney
and then we
Sweeney.
she sees what's Maddie Franklin.
Man
Maddie.
Uh, she almost runs her over on her skateboard, and
flips off an
Matthew flips her
ambulance, which
off.
is kind of like that's
I know,
dumb.
right?
Like, so it's a fucking ambulance. What
And
if
then
somebody was dying? So
and then at in her apartment building, she sees Isabella Merced's
Lord,
Anya
Lord.
Corazon. So after
Mhm.
that, and then we meet Ezekiel Sims again, who apparently has powers now, and then he has this really ugly ass looking condo where there's nothing except this
Spider
aquarium,
Aquarium.
tree aquarium with the spider in the middle.
I
Like,
didn't even notice the
just, it's just so fucking weird. And he goes into a what concert was it? An opera, or I didn't
It's
even
an
pay
opera.
an opera to
yeah,
seduce an
a hot
NSA
NSA agent.
agent for her password, and then she has sex with him,
Oh
and
my
she
god.
kills her. And then we get this. He dreams, and this is the scene that we get in the trailer where the three spider women,
Women.
uh, yeah, Julia, Anya, and Mari, killing him in his dream. So this is his motivation. He has a dream of being killed by the three, and he's trying to find them to kill them because
Mhm.
he keeps repeating it because they're something like they're gonna destroy everything I've built. We have no
Which is what?
idea what the fuck he built. We don't. We know he's rich.
You know he's
Uh,
rich.
he
That's one
has
thing.
he has
See,
a
He
hacker.
has a suit at least.
He
how
hired a
did he
hacker.
become rich by being Las Aranya powered dude?
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
if
the
you're
thing.
strong,
Maybe an assassin. Maybe,
yeah, if you're
but
strong, or you're just like a thief.
but we didn't see any. We didn't see
Yeah.
any life. He didn't have any life, and he keeps saying, "Oh, this life I built." What did you build? He's just been obsessed with these three girls and trying to kill them. So, anyways, this character has no personality at all. I don't think it's any of these actors' fault. It's just, it's just
It's
this
the
the
writing.
writing.
And again, so jump a little bit forward. Like even his costume. Okay, so they call him Ceiling Man. Like even the three girls could not associate him with a spider until like they said, "Oh, it's almost like crawling on the wall." Like,
Like a
oh, okay, so it's
spider.
kind of like a spider. So no wonder people like J. Jonah Jameson hated Spider-Man. Maybe because they remembered Ceiling Man. I don't know.
And see, that's the thing where they really didn't think about it too much. So if there was a
I think they tell
man,
thought about it too much. That's a problem.
yeah, but I mean, like if there is a man with almost the same, just darker toned suit as the very
Spider-Man.
popular Spider-Man in the 90s, 2000s, like again, like the suit almost looks exactly the same, just black.
Yeah.
Right?
It looks
But
like they just traded the wardrobe department from the previous movie.
yeah,
Like,
and
oh,
then
just get use that
no
one.
one remembered this guy. But also that's the other thing too. Like this guy, Rick some havoc in New York for a while, and no, nobody remembers. Nobody remembers a guy in a suit, but they remember
Yeah.
a white lady.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, if we are assuming Tom Holland Spider-Man is here, right? Then that means in the 2003s, there should have been some Avengers there at that
No,
point.
and by the timeline, if those ladies are like, they would have been established by the time
Yeah, yeah.
Peter
Yeah,
Parker
But
becomes
but
Spider Man.
but because the future was changed because they survived, right?
yeah.
They
But
weren't able to kill, so maybe that's a reason why there's a branching path of the
oh,
future.
it's a multiverse now.
Anyways, okay, let's
But again,
continue.
2003, Nick Fury should have been there. He should have been at least there. Look in.
Known about this Las Arañas too. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because at that point he already met Captain Marvel, and he's now
Mm.
looking for superpowered humans to start his Avengers initiative, right? How come he wasn't there?
So, anyways,
I probably didn't bother with it.
Cassie goes, saves this. There's an accident and the car is about to fall off a
Yeah,
bridge. And the
this
two
exact
of them,
scene.
Arnie, you know more paramedics. What's the standard
Uh,
operating? I don't think they're supposed to go in that car without it
nope,
being
they should have
stable, right?
secured. I mean, I'm not a paramedic, but I
And
talk to
I
them a
mean,
lot.
it's a car. I
They
think one guy could have stabilized that car.
they could
Just
at least
just
stabilize
hold.
the
There's
car.
also like a fireman that will always kind of like make sure that it's secure before
Yeah,
any other person. Because like that's the point, right? You don't want to add
Yeah,
more casualties.
yeah.
yeah,
So
and
so
as soon as she goes in, she cuts the guy loose from the seatbelt, and she stays there
mhm,
doing nothing, while Ben is
exactly. But
able to pull him out while she's
you're
staying
like
there and not going out.
it, it's almost like that scene in Austin Powers. Oh, there's a steamroller, and it's like, oh, it's 100 feet away from you. You could still run away, you know.
Like,
Exactly.
so the car
And then,
falls
mhm,
into the water. She
mhm,
hits the windshield, and we get a spider web,
of
I
course.
think. And then it starts branching out into probably the most CGI scene of the, which kind of looked okay. I like the light branching out.
Mhm.
And then she wakes up in the hospital, right? Yeah.
No,
Oh,
she was woken up
oh, she CPR. Yeah.
by CPR. Which, okay, if there's anything good that came out of this
Yeah.
movie is that they teach CPR.
Yeah, very.
although
I
And
actually went through
and
CPR training in office
although
too,
her
and then
CPR sucked, that person would have died the way she did CPR. At least the three girls did a decent enough job with the CPR,
yeah, at
but
least
her,
it wasn't with the elbows, right? Like it was
yeah,
yeah,
straight, and then it
at
was
least
and
they
from the
then
did straight.
shoulders.
2 inches deep,
Yeah,
continuous until like that was a very important when
yeah,
I took my CPR training a couple of months ago. That
hmm
no, you just keep on doing it until help arrives. So you
till
have to
help
have like
arrives. Yeah.
substitute to keep on continuing the pace. I was like, all right, that was a very in depth.
Yeah. Now, so okay, so she was revived. Apparently, she drowned, and then they were testing her vitals. Okay, as somebody as a healthcare professional, Ooh, that was rough. Her blood pressure is really low. She wouldn't be able to sit down with that blood pressure, and then her O2 sats will be like 89 is not good enough. You have to be above 92%, especially post drowning. But whatever. It's
I
they just
mean,
want to
yeah.
move along and all that. Maybe she's super powered. I was expecting, oh, maybe it will activate her powers. Her metabolism is maybe slower than most humans. Okay,
So,
I
anyways,
forgave
we
it.
continue, and then we have a baby shower for young Peter Parker. We meet
Oh, it was an
Mary. It
annoying
was
baby
it was
shower.
even, I didn't even clock it until Katrina, my wife, said like, and she wasn't even paying attention. She just saw this scene where she introduced herself as Mary, and the father was Richard, and then yeah, Kat was like, "Oh, that's Peter's parents." So it is Ben Parker, and yeah, he was out in a different country, so Ben was taking care of Mary,
Mhm.
her sister-in-law, and then we see how socially awkward Cassie is, and uh, I do like. I'll just give this it to it. I do like the the time loops, how they did it, because it's
I think I so surprisingly,
this scene, some of the initial ones, the start where she's trying to figure out what's happening, because it's kind of a loop. You don't see the
yeah,
cut. That's what I like. That's why I like
it's
it.
not
Like
just like it's not too much of a vision. Like it is kind of again, it is kind of like um you're right, a loop. But like I
it's
think
not
all of
Deja
the
vu.
it's
effects
not like jarring. You know what I mean? It's like it just, to her it's like really a loop where
it's deja vu.
she doesn't notice that it restarted. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I no, I
So
think in this movie, that's the thing that I was very very surprised with. I thought that even the effects was gonna be super bad. The sets were weird and stuff like that, but all of the effects that they showed was pretty okay with me. Though it was
I
much more
mean
grounded
yeah, because
than I would have expected.
there wasn't really any action that needed effects in a sense.
Exactly.
That's why
Right. So, but like
that's
I
why it
love
wasn't jarring.
the web the first time that she awakened, after her drowning, and then
Mm.
she saw and started touching the web and starting having different visions. I kind of liked it. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was a
It was, yeah.
it's
I'll
a
give it
good
that.
representation because I don't like the well, I don't I know limited amount of Madame Web on the in the comics, but
Mhm.
like this old lady sitting in a chair in a web of whatever is I thought like, oh, are we gonna end up with something like that? But
We
this
kind
one
of
was
did.
a lot more
We kind
um
of did.
We kind of
yeah,
did, bro.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't
We'll
think we
get
will
there.
be anymore.
Yeah, true. So, she starts getting these loops, and then it causes the death of one of the paramedics because, again, she doesn't quite believe it yet. So, when she gets a vision of one of their coworkers
Yeah.
getting hit by a car, she didn't fight hard enough, and
Yeah.
he dies.
So
That's what kind of proves the to her that the vision is real. And then yeah, she gets depressed, and then uh yeah, we get this scene with the bird hitting her apartment window, and
that was
then
a clean
looping
window.
again. I know. And then she goes to the subway, and this is where the action starts, where she sees the vision of Ezekiel killing those three girls in the same car. And also, on the side, Ezekiel got access to the NSA and hired a hacker. Do we even get
Hmm.
her name?
No,
Nope.
he mentioned her name, but I forgot.
Oh,
There, she said it once. Just the first name.
okay, and then she just
Yeah.
has this throwaway line where, "Oh, we're killing those three persons who gonna kill you, but they're only teenagers."
Hmm.
Like, but then she doesn't fight anymore after that. So he goes to the subway to try to kill them, and then
So
Cassie
a little
corrals
sidebar on
them.
that NSA thing. Like, really, that is a bad fail safe for NSA. Like, oh, one
They just
person
thought,
could just because I remember in one of your jobs, Chubax, you had if you're under duress, this is the passcode you
uh-huh,
use, and if you're not, this is the passcode you
yeah.
use. I would imagine the NSA would use the same, at least more advanced version of that. So
Yeah,
like, so
and
at
if
least if I
somebody's missing, then you disable the password,
yeah, plus
right?
she
Or
hasn't
you'll be able
showed
to
up for
track
work,
it.
and they used her badge, so he had to look like her to use. I mean, I would imagine it's not. I mean, especially in 2003, it's not that easy to just basically brute force the NSA, whatever. But whatever, especially with that power too, because as we know from Edward Snowden, that's a very powerful tool. This is how you spend it, finding three girls.
So, anyways, let me clear it. So
Okay.
Ezekiel comes into the car, right? And he's not
Yeah.
wearing the suit. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
comes
He's
in
not
with this regular like neck
suit.
tie suit and
Mm-hmm.
kills them, and then that's a vision. So she corrals them out, and
Mm-hmm.
he sees them out, and that's when, while they're running in the subway, that's when he comes as ceiling ceiling man.
Stealing man.
He comes in as ceiling man, and the police um think that Cassie's the kidnapper, so they're arresting her, and then Ezekiel comes in. Does he have a villain name? Is it just
Nope. Stealing
Uh,
man.
ceiling
well, in
man?
the comics, he's fuck,
What is he?
he's-
Ceiling man.
Ceiling
Stealing
man.
man.
Yeah, we'll stick with ceiling man.
And,
And so he kills the police, but the Cassie and the other three are able to escape. Um, they steal a taxi. There's kind of good chemistry between the three girls, but they don't have anything to work with. It's
Mhm.
with the writing, which is sad because I mean I've seen some of the interviews and they really have good chemistry, the three, but and you see some of it in the movie, but there's just their characters so empty that they
it,
haven't anything to work with.
it's so empty because the way that they were put together is so weird. It's like I can't think of a way to have three random people forge a bond when they were essentially kidnapped,
Mhm.
right? So that's for me that the biggest hole and the thing that I don't think can ever be fixed by anything. This needs to be like written way in advance is how to make why did they make Cassie Webb saving the three kids into kidnapping,
Mhm.
right? So I it's weird because like in the end that's just how everything is. So if it were a kidnapping, just go to the fucking police and clear your name,
Mhm.
right? How are you going to be able to fly commercial, go to Peru,
Wait, we're
and
not
you
there
have
yet.
like a
We're not
fucking
there.
warrant for your arrest?
We're not there. Maybe they don't know who she is. We don't know, just a woman.
It's
So
2003. No Facebook yet.
so they steal a cab and she brings them to
The
what park
jungle.
is this? What is this, the New York park or New
Is this upstate?
Jersey?
It's probably like, I was thinking if it's uh in the city
Wi-
that's,
Wikipedia
Central
even
Park has some forests.
Wikipedia even says she steals a taxi and takes Julia, Anya, and Mari out of the city to hide them in a nearby forest. Because that's just random. And she
It's
leaves
probably
them.
again there are some forest in New York, but that's 3 or 4 hours upstate, and there's no park in New York where there is a
A
diner half a
diner.
So she leaves
Mhm.
them there. She goes home and she investigates this journal that she's probably seen a million times, probably read a million times, but never understood or remembered anything. So she has to go see that it's in Peru. Her mom, and it's Ezekiel. She notices that Ezekiel is the in the picture with his mom in a weird angle for the photo.
That was a weird photo.
Mhm.
And then she goes back, but before she goes back, the three get well, they're fucking stuck in a fucking jungle. But apparently, Mari notices that there's a diner half a click away. So they go there. We see some banter where one is the daughter of a rich parent but's neglected. Another one doesn't have a father. Oh, his father got deported, so she's been living by
Deported.
herself,
Mhm.
trying to make it to 18 so that she doesn't. I don't know what the foster care or
Maybe,
something.
well, you can
Because
emancipate
she
yourself. So yeah.
probably has papers, so she's not gonna be deported. And then another one who's living with her dad and stepmom who don't want her. So they go to the diner, uh, and then Cassie comes back, but when she gets there, they're gone, and she has this vision of them killing. So this is where it kind of sucks now, where they already had this nice loop thing where it's not jarring, and then they do the normal thing where it's really jarring, where she has this vision and then it cuts, and then she's in the forest by herself, and then getting stabbed, and then she we get this uh she hears this song in the radio in the diner where when
Mhm.
Ezekiel's killing the girls. So when she goes back to reality, she hears that song pop up on the car,
On
so
the
she
radio.
knows that she has a time limit. And
Which
but
is, oh, wait, okay. I love that. I love that
yeah,
little wrinkle. That's smart. But among the hundreds of radio stations, you were able to
it's the
find it
same.
within a
It's the
drive and a
same.
half.
Yeah. And then
Wow,
before
And
we go that,
amazing.
they can't even decide because like so in the radio station it's, oh, this song's gonna be a hit by Britney Spears. But in the diner, the girls are already dancing to it and they know the lyrics. Like, oh, and it's toxic, by the way. If you don't know the song, it's toxic. And I tried to see if it really came out in 2003, but I just didn't care enough to hear it. But whatever.
anyways, before we jump to the reality, in the vision, Ezekiel kills, or we see the vision of Ezekiel killing Sydney.
The
Uh,
three of them.
well, no, I don't think he got to Anya. That's when Cassie arrived and then got killed.
Mm,
But she
mhm.
kills and Matty. But there's some scenes here where they try to make it what's the term, like cool, or like, yeah, like the scene where the camera, when he flips, the camera flips.
Mm. Mhm.
And
That was okay.
I didn't like it because it kind of loses the movement of the flip, if you know what I mean. It's like,
I think they're hiding the wires.
yeah, maybe, but it's kind of like you it's like the opposite of you know how
Cool.
in stuntman reacts, diba, where they say the camera follows Jackie Chan to feel the movement. This one, it took
Mhm.
it too much, where he flipped, so the camera flipped, but then
Like
I lost the
they
feeling
were
of seeing a guy standing on the ceiling,
they
because
were trying to
when they
be
showed it to me, he
Inception.
was standing on the floor. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
I kind of lost the
They're trying to be Inception. Because remember in that scene
Inception.
in
Like, yeah, I was thinking
Inception?
too.
Yeah.
Well, also, I
so
think, yeah, it's easier to kind of like hide the wires that is keeping him up if you follow it also. But,
Mhm.
speaking of camera movement, they're doing this digital zoom whenever there's an action scene that's like really jarring, like goes in like zoom, 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 like trying to,
Uh,
that's just,
so
it seems
I
like
guess
the
they're trying
director
to
doesn't.
save money for, oh, let's hide the green screen. Let's hide the green screen.
Yeah, but also like the again the director doesn't know, doesn't is not a master of movement if you have to keep on doing artificial movements like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
So, anyways, she rushes here in this taxi and somehow knows that Ezekiel will be just the only guy there, and then he rams it on the diner and hits only Ezekiel. And
perfect timing.
And then get in the car, and then let's go away. Like, okay,
then Ezekiel grabs her
that
arm for a few seconds and poisons her, but doesn't really do anything. It just makes it hurt a little bit, like give her cramps on the arm. And then like what? And then
because when he killed that NSA agent, he really meant, oh yeah, it's poison now, and before the paralysis hits your lips, you better talk and tell me the password. Meanwhile, with Dakota, like, oh yeah, it's a cramp. Wow.
It's just powers.
wait, wait,
Yeah, but
remind me
still.
when. So after the escape, she brings them to Ben Parker's house, right? When
Mm-hmm.
does she have that?
After the escape, they do motel first.
A
Okay,
motel
and this
first.
is where she does this speaking to Ezekiel in the vision thing, which I do
Yeah.
not understand
Well,
why.
before that, we skipped the important part. She tried to ditch the kids. She
Mm-hmm.
was trying to leave the kids
Oh,
like fuck all y'alls.
she kept saying it multiple times. Oh, your parents can handle that. Like your parents can
Yeah,
handle
you're
the
leaving
ceiling
three
man.
teenagers in a motel. Mm-hmm.
So she has
Yeah.
this vision where she's talking to Ezekiel. But I don't know. Is it what like she's tapping into a parallel universe where she goes to him and they talk? I don't know. That's me just trying to justify it. Because
Well, you have to have a villain monologue,
but and then he has to say, oh, if I held on longer, you would have been dead. Like, what?
Well, why didn't you then? You
And
know,
then
but
and this is where like the power's weird. It's like he can jump from buildings, but opening a
mhm.
hard door on his face will knock him out.
That's
Right?
true. That is true. I mean,
So,
again, the superpowers are powerful until the director says that you have to be knocked out.
so they take
Yeah.
refuge in Ben's house because she says that she has to go to Peru to find answers. We forgot the scene where she tries to be Spider-Man and tries to crawl to the ceiling. Which,
That
That
was so
wasn't
funny
really.
though. That was
That
so
was,
funny because when she jumped on the wall and crumpled down, I was like, you know what? Again, I like this.
that's
Not as
improv.
bad.
anyways, so she goes there. So she goes to Peru, and
Hmm.
again, with the timeline, within a day or within hours of arriving, she, she
He
finds the Las
finds the.
Arañas. And,
Well, so okay, this one I'm cheating a little bit because I at first when I saw this, I literally rolled my eyes because I know this they're just trying to move the plot along. But again, we get reminded about the first 10 minutes of the movie. The dude knows that she was gonna come back. And I think she knew when and where she was gonna come back.
So he
And
was
she was
just sitting
gonna
there.
but
show
dude,
up there. She was like, oh, okay, oh, it's today. I'm gonna go pick up this person and then tell him all about
but
her birthing
that's
story.
why I can't forgive this, Joe, because we've seen this done better in TV shows. This
Exactly.
exact storyline of somebody having powers or like the time loop thing and then them going to somewhere else, not in the middle of a movie. You don't drop everything and go to Peru in the middle of an action movie. So she gets there and then he brings her to the cave and asks, "Do you trust me?" No, and then he pushes her and we
Well,
get this
first,
Doctor Strange
so so she leaves these three girls with Ben
Ben Parker
Parker
and Mary, who's
Rui.
pregnant.
and Mary, and the sister. I'm assuming it's his sister. Like they're just okay with that. Just three random girls being left to an adult man. Hmm.
Well, I mean, her sister's there.
Yeah, but
His
still,
sister.
His
but still,
sister-in-law, his sister-in-law,
sister-in-law or whatever.
sister-in-law.
But still, like
Sister-in-law?
Yeah, because it's Richard Parker and Ben Parker.
Richard. Yeah. So
That's why he's Peter Parker
yeah,
Okay,
because
okay,
the
okay.
dad's
and,
Parker.
and and the thing is, like, nobody was really looking for these three girls, with the exception of that trucker guy in that diner. Nobody looked for these three girls.
So we get to the cave, and he does this Doctor Strange where he pushes her, but only her astral self falls
Yeah,
into the
the
water.
astral self.
Yeah,
That
and
was actually not bad.
we get to the
Oh
big
my god.
twist where apparently, well, I mean, there was a line where she said like, "Why would my mother go to Peru 8 months pregnant with me?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and apparently she's been hating her all her life, but we didn't really.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't
We
really
didn't know that the entire movie
emphasized,
until
yeah,
then.
and stressed. And then we get the so she falls in the pool, and then she goes flashback to her mom talking to the doctor and saying that she has what does she have? Like a
Some
disorder.
degenerative bone disease.
Okay,
It's
so that
is a yeah.
and then she's dying, and there's no cure. That's why the mom was there looking for the cure. So and then she's able to talk to her mom and hug her and thank her and explain that she's okay or something.
Okay.
And again, back to the spider who said, I'll cure the
See,
degenerating bone disease of your baby, but your gunshot, fuck off. Fuck you.
see, I'm usually a sucker for those mom and son, mom and daughter,
Uh,
dad, parents scenes. It's sort of like, huh?
the spy.
That's again, it's such an important part, and I understand that there was like, yeah, you can understand the motivations of everything, but you wasted so many things. Like, it wasn't in the story at all. It doesn't mean anything at all. You tell not show. So that sucked. When I figured that out, it's like, wait, yeah, I thought that her mother was an archaeologist.
Yeah. It's almost
No,
like,
you're
Just looking
not. You're
for a
just a
cure.
fucking person trying to look for a cure, which made the first part even worse. For
yeah.
years, Ezekiel Sims has been trying to find that spider, and a pregnant lady found it in a few days. Oh, come on. Come
She,
on.
see, the thing is, she would have
But
been like, if she would just, okay, let's say she got that diagnosis. If she ended up in, what's the name in Doctor Strange, the place we went
Kamartaj.
in, yeah,
Ashram.
if she ended up there, I would have believed her versus the spider.
Oh,
Because at least,
but we
because at least
skipped.
Stephen Strange was able, you could imagine, okay, somebody could find this Tamartaj and somebody told him where to go. That would have been more believable than a random spider in Peru in 1973.
But we missed
Like,
we missed the line of the movie or the line of the century, where the guy
which,
says, "If you choose the responsibility, you will gain great power."
oh,
What the fuck?
and it
No,
comes with great
no, no,
responsibility.
no, no. I tuned out when they said that. No.
I was
But
like,
also the other idea too is like
That
they
makes me angry.
very angry. No, but especially coming off Dune, where at the expense of understanding the movie, where you're just like, hey, things are just gonna happen. Some things you'll figure out, some things you don't. This one, it's like when they expense, like, but so my mom was bitten a spider. I don't have the disease. I got cured, but how come Ezekiel can like walk through walls? And yeah, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you did not get the
the
physical power,
physical,
but you've seen the gifts of the future. It's like,
your mind, the vision.
wow, can you be more clear? Can you be more clear in terms of how the powers of this special
Oh,
spider work?
and she drops. Oh, yeah, but the power of your mind is something like limitless or something, and you'll even be able to be in I know many
Multiple
multiple
places.
places at once.
See,
Okay,
you should have led with that.
you know what they.
It's
Anyways,
almost like, okay, remember the whole joke about Aquaman being useless because, well, you're only useful in the sea? That's pretty much what how powers is. Like, oh, you're pretty much useful when you need to know the future, but if when you're fighting each other, yeah.
and
But I
then
could be in three places. I don't know. Why three? What's the limit? Why three? Why is three the limit?
and then we
I thought she
skipped
was the limit. Is
back to what Jong said. How did she fly to Peru and back with no issues?
they had the same
And
clothes.
she didn't change, right? Yeah, I was gonna say that. It's this outfit, right? The black with the red jacket and
Yeah.
the jeans. So she comes back. Of course, at the same time she comes back, Mary goes into labor with Peter, and the three ladies go with her. Why did they go with him on the
They
car?
could have stayed in the
I do not
house.
understand.
They could have
So
stayed
they
in
go
the
with her,
house.
and of course they're tracked by the spider. And why is
By
there an
ceiling man.
ambulance heading to Ben Parker's place?
No, because they call. Okay, so first they
They
called an
called,
ambulance, and then Ben Parker said like, "Oh, it's gonna be a few minutes or maybe a few. It takes a while."
and
Because yeah, because
they didn't tell the ambulance that they're leaving. They just
there's that. And number two, like, okay, if you drove by car, you can't really skip the traffic lights because you're just a
yeah,
car. The ambulance could have done that.
yeah.
Plus, you already have medical treatment, yada yada yada. But no, because her water broke, she really has to go. Your classic movie pregnancy
Trope,
giving
which
birth
takes
trope, right?
hours, could even take a few days. So
Okay, my wife took forever to give birth, and And then all of a sudden, Peter Parker's really, oh, in the baby shower, he was jumping all over her womb. Like, really? Like,
Yeah, sure.
he's
I mean, it happens all the time. I know. First hand
like,
experience.
Okay, so anyways,
okay.
so she steals the ambulance as the paramedics are checking. Steals another car, and apparently knows where they're going. And then Ezekiel comes and attacks. There's another scene here where uh, they're stopped, and then Ezekiel's high on top, and then Ben's like, "What is that?" And then somebody from the back can see that angle. Like Sidney Sweeney's like, "Oh, that's like ceiling man." You can't see him from your angle. I hear from Anyways, so she comes and we see so Cassie's powers apparently are already controlled. So she knows where they are. She hits him from the back, like a parking structure. She comes in, hits him in the car in the back, and the ambulance doesn't
That's some amazing
right,
suspensions,
yeah.
man.
She moves the three of them, and bye bye Ben Parker. Nothing, didn't do
That's it.
anything, didn't do shit. She takes the three, and so this is for her where her powers are like already on overdrive, and she knows everything. She makes them do things to thwart Ezekiel's attacks, because she knows the future. And there's this one throwaway line in her first vision with Mike Epps in the uh when there was a fire, and they said, "Oh, don't go in because this building's full of explosives." so she uses that to her advantage, and she brings them to that place of
So they didn't
explosives.
clear the building. They didn't clear
So the building that was not condemned was there's no
they kept the fireworks in
They
the
didn't look like
building.
explosives. It was just fireworks. And I don't think fireworks can break cement
Cassie-
walls.
Cassie gave the kids like flares, right? To
But what did
explode
each
the
create?
fireworks. Where'd she get the flares?
Oh, she got it from the
In the
ambulance.
ambulance, in the
Apparently, there's
kit.
flares there.
There's flares in the ambulance. Okay.
I think
Maybe I didn't
they
know.
might have
I'm not even
for
gonna talk about
emergencies.
the
But can the flares burn through the crates?
clear.
I mean, the fireworks could.
Yeah, but when they in the ambulance, right? Like in this scene, okay, charge the AED, and because they got it electric. Like this scene, I was like, I know it's a powerful device to start the heart, but it's not that powerful that would.
Great
Us.
timing, right?
So they go into this building, and with her power, she's able to guide them safely up to the ceiling. And
That was kind of cool. That was kind
But
of cool.
it's just the fireworks are so weird. Why are they making like crater sized holes in the ceiling, like one after the other? Like, why is it like? Anyways, so just because of this, there, all three are already like, what's the term with Cassie? Like enamored, or like they already have loyalty to her
Mhm.
or something, right? Anyways,
Because
so
she
they,
didn't.
she
She
did-
didn't abandon them.
she tried a couple few times.
Again, they were asleep. They didn't realize that she.
No, she told them your parents can deal with this. Like, what? So, anyways, they go up the ceiling, and then we get to the pivotal moment where all three of the girls were in danger of falling to a fire,
Mm.
and Ezekiel's cornered Cassie, so she does her uh, multiple places at the same time power, which kind of look cool in a sense.
Mhm.
But then it didn't work because he punched her in the where she was, and then
See,
all of the other Cassies went back to her, and then
uh,
so they go up there, and then she knows which parts of the sign was gonna break, so she was able to lure Ezekiel to her death. he has this
But you
line
kept
where
looking at it. So if I
I
was the guy, like,
know.
well, you keep looking at that sign. Maybe I
Yeah.
should avoid it.
Why are you
Also, well,
telegraphing
because he
it?
knows that. So here's the thing that we kind of like haven't spoken about the entire movie. This is just a giant ad for Pepsi, right? Even from the
Mhm.
very beginning.
Mhm.
The Pepsi Cola sign that's in actually that's not in New York, that's in New Jersey, but across Randall's Island in New York. There's that special S in his vision that is haunting him, right? And I
Mhm.
fucking got pissed off that was the S from the Pepsi Cola sign. So I thought it was like S because of Spider-Man or shit. No, no, no. It's the S
No,
of the Pepsi Cola sign.
S means hope.
S means hope. Also like during the barbecue, like she like the day after she drowned,
Pepsi.
she wanted the beers, gave her a
Pepsi.
every fucking vending machine is just Pepsi. By the end I got so fucking annoyed, specifically when when the fireworks were coming in and the S was coming down to him. I was like, fuck that shit.
And then
And
she goes with the line like her finishing line was like, "You've been so worried about the girls, but you should have been worried something like you should have been worried about me or something like that." And then he
But
dies.
you weren't in the fucking vision, dum dum.
So he died. He falls, and then the was it the P or the S that falls on him?
S was the
The
one that
S.
the
killed him.
S,
Okay, it falls on him.
but the
He'll,
pea fell on her, and she became blind and disabled because of it in the water. In the Now, if the pea fell on her above ground, okay, that's cause enough damage. But in the water, with the
Just also
water,
just exactly at the two eyes.
uh,
Nowhere near.
yeah, her
No
face was
scars in her
perfectly
face.
fine. I mean, she
so
still
yeah,
looks like Dakota
she falls
Johnson.
in the water, and then she gets into the hospital. She wakes up in the hospital with bandages on her eyes,
Mm.
and then we get this oh so sweet moment that's not earned where only family, oh
Mhm.
they're mine. The three of them are mine, and then
Then there's like, okay, there's a Latina, a black girl, and a white girl, and a white girl. Okay, I'll take it.
and then we cut to the scene where they're visiting her in her condo, and she has these ugly ass glasses, like a 90-year-old's
Well,
glass.
is that comic book accurate?
I
Because
don't
Disney
fucking care,
didn't.
bro. It doesn't look. It looks.
So,
I think it's
and
comic
then
book accurate because the comic book Madame Webb
is
is
an
an
old
old
lady.
lady. It's not a
And the thing is,
Horrible
30-year
the
old.
the
glasses.
the wheelchair is almost like they wanted to make it look like Barbara Gordon Oracle type of wheelchair. Maybe it's the same one from
But dude, those
back in
glasses
the
look
day.
so bad. I
It
don't
looks
know
like
what the
welding.
fuck that was happening.
They couldn't afford to buy a Ray-Ban for
Big
her,
ones like that.
And
or
then
like a Geordie LaForge.
and then we cut into the scene where it looks like. Do you guys remember the 2000 show Birds of Prey?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's this
That was
scene
referring to.
where he gets into a vision. She has like a vision where he's wearing this new costume, the red
Mhm.
costume, and the glasses again. Like why do they have to be that big? It doesn't look like another. This looks so
Yeah.
bad. I mean, the three ladies' costumes they look good and they look hot.
They
Well,
look
they
good,
are
but
hot.
They look
again, we don't
good,
see
but
them.
it's in the vision.
Except they don't cover any of their faces. Like you know who it is immediately.
You do? I don't know them. Wait, it was still there.
Well, if you've been seeing their faces for the past decade or 20 years, you memorized their face, so you just extrapolated the
And,
actual face.
and I don't know, like the scene where we see with Ezekiel doing the coin thing, but with a spider on his fingers. We see
Mm-hmm.
Madame Web do it in the end. Like I don't know why.
And the glove looked
It-
horrible.
like, and then she was standing, but I thought she's in a wheelchair. Like, what the fuck is happening?
So okay, so here's the thing too. Okay, so we're at
And
the
that's
end of
where
the
it
movie.
ends.
No end credit scene.
No post
I checked.
credits. I checked as well.
So how did the girls get their
I checked as well. I
powers?
let it run. I played a mission of Helldivers while the credits were running.
But see, the thing is, how did these girls get their powers? So the thing is, like, maybe instead of killing them, prevent how they get the powers.
But no,
Right.
that's not what the last scene was about.
Yeah,
Right?
it's just like, oh, you're just going to be going to be model citizens. You're going to stand up for
And I
what's
think it
right. And
was
like, okay,
the director said why like, oh, why didn't Why didn't we see the girls get their powers? And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, it seemed like too greedy to show 4 origin stories at once. Like, what the fuck are you
Well,
talking
at that point, why not?
Well,
about?
again,
And then this is where, again, if you're gonna make like a Madame Web movie, because the Madame Web movie is like Madame Web is like her whole thing is like she's the centerpiece of the Spider Verse, right, or something like
The spider sense, yeah.
she has something to do with the Spider heroes, Spider Man. There's nothing. Why is the? I mean, at least show us why. Why is it important? Why is
Mhm.
she? You know why is she the center of this web of spiders of these spider people? No, you just got bitten and she has powers, and then I don't know. There's no emphasis. Like I would have liked it more if they connected that to Peter in a sense that like she's the connection of all the Spider-Man, not just because her partner's Ben Parker. And then, like she's
well, maybe that's part of it. That's that's part of how the universe wants Peter to be close to Madame Web.
my God, somebody has to
So,
sue Sony. Like
if you
they
go back
don't
to
know.
the Spider Verse, like it's like a key moment, right? It's like one of those spider, what Oscar Isaac was trying to prevent. Like those are key moments. Like Uncle Ben must always die, and blah blah blah. So where does Madam Web go into that, right? So Sony's really confused. Like they're not
I
even
don't know, dude.
integrating it
Like,
with the Spider
and
Verse.
but there's rumors on Twitter like they're fighting with Marvel to make it. They want a multiverse movie again for the next Tom Holland movie, and Marvel was Kevin Feige is like, we just want a down on the streets
Yeah, make it
superhero
simple.
film. Like, dude, somebody has to do something to Sony. Like,
No, I mean
how can
that's
you make
Well,
across the Spider Verse and into the Spider Verse do this shit with other like
see,
I think this is I if this is not the last straw of at least
Morbius could have been the last straw.
I mean that's the thing. It's like we thought that Morbius was going to
Dude,
be
it's
the
not the
first,
last straw because
but
we have Craven coming.
we have Craven one more left, and
and then
everybody's
the Last
thinking,
Dance. Remember the Last Dance? Venom.
well,
I mean, as much as like Danny likes Venom, I kind of like Venom too. As much as on a sane planet, Venom would have been the last straw. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
but we're
Yeah.
in this fucked up world where Sony is like
we have one more
Venom is
Venom.
the better
We
ones.
have one more Craven. Well, that's the problem. I think that's the problem. They still make money,
Well, not this
right?
one. So
Ah,
Venom
hopefully,
was
no, no,
1 billion twice.
I know, but Morbius. What did Morbius do?
Morbin time. That's all it did.
Morbius,
Like they got scammed into putting back in theaters and then nobody
So I
watched it
think
again.
Morbius and this was a pretty bad loss for Sony.
yeah,
So hopefully that's
Morbius did
really
double 83 to 167, but I don't think
that's still
good.
bad. I mean, you need to be around
Yeah,
300,
I
400
think it's
for
triple. It should be triple, diba?
triple
Yeah.
to be
What
good.
did
What
Yes.
else?
Venom
So
do?
Huh?
What did the Venom movies do?
Venom 1 did really good. Venom
1B.
2, I don't think Venom 2 did that. I don't think Venom 2 did a billion. Yeah, he
See,
did.
Like,
that's what's giving Sony confidence to put out these
Exactly.
shitty movies. Is
Exactly.
because
Venom did half a billion, 500
because
million.
people like Venom in spite itself. You know, it's like
yeah.
it's so stupid, but
I mean,
I want to see Venom just bite some
see,
people. You
it's
know,
kind of like what happened with Fox, right? It's like so they made the X-Men movies, right? And then all of a sudden they went. I don't know if they went bankrupt or they got bought out by Disney. So is this enough to
I
make
mean, I think. I mean, again,
Sony's valuation low enough so that Disney will just buy
I
them?
mean, fucking the actors were trashing it mid conference, mid press
I
conference.
mean,
I've never
I
seen that
normally don't.
before.
I typically don't feel bad for actors, but I felt bad for Sydney Sweeney and the two other girls because Dakota knew. Okay, I'm just reading lines. I just got paid, whatever. But it seemed like
I
the
feel
girls
bad
really
for Adam
wanted.
Scott. Like,
No, I think
he's
Adam Scott was like 2 days of shooting and then it's like didn't
No,
even know
but
that
I mean to be associated with that.
yeah, and he's a nerd. He's the one that
Yeah.
freaked out when Luke
But
Skywalker
yeah,
came for
with
his birthday. He's just like, I'm
Gargamel.
finally in the MCU, and they're like, oh, it's a crappy MCU. Not
It's
even
not
MCU movie.
I
I
just
think
don't know.
Okay.
hopefully this is
I
going
just
to
don't know
be
how as like the head of Sony like, oh, I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, and the thing
I
is,
don't
okay,
know. How
again,
can
I
you look in
understand
the
it's
mirror I'm doing a good job?
and I understand it's a different time now. We're more of like the post Me Too, blah blah blah. I get that, but one of your actresses is known for her sex appeal. You tried by giving her a short skirt, but and then even like the whole table dancing thing, but you practically didn't even commit to that. And then meanwhile, their other movie that's more raunchy made a whole bunch of money. Even I didn't watch that movie. So I don't know, like you're trying to be not sexist or not sexualizing your characters, but
You
you
can't
you
go
say
there.
you can go there, but they're teenagers. They're dancing on a table in a diner.
well, that's
Yeah.
what teenagers do, I guess.
But
Oh,
that's the 2000s.
in the 2000s, like they just randomly dance on a table in front of high school dudes
I
and
don't
then
even think the waiters will allow you to step
Yeah.
on a fucking
yeah,
table. Like,
and the trucker
I
dude,
don't even think they can take that three people.
the trucker dude, instead of like, hey kids, get down on that table, they just decided, oh, these three teenagers are the ones who've been kidnapped. Like,
Well, to be fair,
I
if I
call
was there, I
911.
wouldn't stop them.
that's true.
I mean, 2003, I was like, how old was I? 22, 23. Yeah, that's not the first thing I will just call 911.
But
I'll be like, oh, who's this three chicks dancing on the table?
Well, you just call the manager, and it's like you're disrupting my business. You know,
I
Exactly.
think,
But
yeah,
again, they're
Dakota also said something that makes sense. Like, these are movies by committee, and it
Mhm.
sucks. There's no vision. There's no,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. So they don't want to sexualize Sydney Sweeney, which is fair. But they gave her like a schoolgirl outfit and have her dance on the table.
Yeah.
the
No, but I think
direction,
like
the
kind of like why
ADRs,
are
the
you're a little
lines.
fixated to like Sydney Sweeney in this movie. It's like the entire movie is just
That's
you
why I said thank God for her, because that like at least it's
no,
eye
I think
candy.
it's there's a certain thing with Sony that you are such a big organization because again, this is not just the Sony studios, not Sony movies. It's a whole it's a whole company. Like it's
Yeah,
not just the deals that you're gonna get there. So they use the Sony name to get you get Jared Leto, you get Dakota Johnson, you get all of these giant names.
Matt
you got
Smith.
Venom.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
vet
You
like
had
great. So
you had Matt Smith.
even your 2, 3, 4, 5 people in the call sheet are top names, including like as Isabella Merced or like a Sydney Sweeney and an Adam Scott. They keep on saying yes because like one, sure it's a paycheck. Two, yeah, I think they already know at this point that not all superhero movies is kind of like all right. I might get 2 or 3 of these. It
Hmm.
might be good. It might be bad.
Hmm.
I think in my opinion, I think it's the opposite nowadays where stars are hoping that it doesn't become an Iron Man or a Thor franchise that is like 8 movies in 10, 15 years because that will lock you up too
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
long. I think they're looking for 1 to 3 movies so that
Yeah,
they can do their passion project. So they're
yeah.
agreeing to something like a Sony, which like you have you seen what Jared Leto's done? Oscar award winning actor. Oscar award win 2-time Oscar award winning actor. Morbius. What? Tom
Morbid
Hardy.
time.
I was like, you keep on getting these people, and these people keep on saying yes. So Sony will just keep on making all of these movies. So, but it's happening to
Well,
Marvel right now too. But at least Marvel has the wherewithal to start. Like it's sad. It's a sad week for MCU for a lot of cancellations of future
hmm.
projects.
Hmm.
Um, but at least they know that hey, the number one idea here is quality of the movie. It's not just like putting something out so that they can keep the rights because I think they still have to do a Spider-Man movie,
I think that's
Spider-Man
what they
universe movie every 2 years
that's what
to
they're
keep the
doing.
rights.
Yeah.
right? So hopefully now with a couple of L's like Morbius and
Madame
Madame
Web.
Webb, maybe.
I don't think Craven's gonna do any well.
I mean, a
Oh,
lot of people seem to think that Craven might be doing well. Like the insiders say that everybody's happy on set. But I actually don't like making him a hero. Like
yeah.
um,
And is Craven? I mean, okay. From what little I know of Craven back in the day, when I is he easily translatable on film? That he's not gonna look like a crazy hunter guy, because
yeah,
he's
it's
like a big game
easier.
hunter, right? He's
Yeah,
a
it's
big game
easier.
hunter, and he fights with Spider-Man because Spider-Man. I don't know. I
Well,
just don't.
the current synopsis they've already changed that idea that because like usually Craven his thing is like he has hunted every game in the
Every
entire
game, right?
world already, so he wants a new challenge. So he's hunting superhero people. Now it's totally different. Now he's just like he has a little bit of powers. Like he can commune with the animals. So he's
Oh
just
God.
trying to um
So
protect
Aquaman.
his domain. So yeah, so that's the current, which is a lot weaker because I thought it would have been nicer if he would be hunting actual superhero people, but they've
Mm.
currently they've changed it. So
Oh
the people from the Ringerverse seem to be very, very excited about it. It's like, oh no, please don't
no.
have one more good movie.
You're
Please make it
encouraging
bad.
them.
Yeah,
You're encouraging them.
make it bad. But
So there we
um,
have it.
let's do our
And it.
final thoughts and ratings so we can put this cinematic masterpiece to bed. Arnie, what is your score for Madame Web?
Well, at least I completed the movie, so 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. I'm going to go 5 too. Like again, it is
It's if it's a direct-to-video movie and it's just popcorn, mindless movie, yeah.
yeah. The
But
only
again,
reason why this got a 5 for me because everybody told me that this is going to be like a 1, a 2, or 3 movie, but it's not. Like it's just poorly written.
yeah, it
But
it
Uh,
poorly
you sit down, you
written.
open your eyes, and it's short enough.
it's a three.
No,
It's a
Bucks.
three for me.
All
it,
right.
it it didn't really commit to a single vision, like what Chubak said. It was
It's
uninspired.
a three
I
for
wish
me.
I wish they committed to a something. They committed to something, but yeah, they didn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
uh,
definitely it's all
I
about.
usually
I
have
think that movie.
I have a bad memory for everything in life, but for anything I watch, I usually have a good memory. I watched this yesterday and it's already fading away.
I
So
think I mean it's with movies like Dune coming out with a very at least relatively modest budget. You can really see that it's all about the writing. It's all about the
Like, I
direction.
mean, even Godzilla minus one, they won
Minus
an
one.
Oscar, right?
Yeah.
And it's a simple story. Godzilla wrecks Tokyo or
no,
Japan.
don't spoil me, please. I haven't seen it.
I mean, it's Godzilla. I mean, come on.
I don't care. Don't spoil it for please.
Period piece Godzilla. But yeah, I mean that's the idea too. That there's movies
Yeah,
like Past Lives where it's all about how you contain your story. And your story, Aiden, speaking of Godzilla, it's not a complex story.
yeah.
It's a very simple story, but it's just like clearly said.
I mean, Monarch made more sense than this movie. And Monarch is I like Monarch. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, but without showing Godzilla a lot of times, they made a compelling story.
Yeah, it's more of just like you're again, you guys are right. It's about a singular vision, but also the vision needs to be correct. It needs to make sense.
Yeah,
Like just follow
I
your
think for
own
this
rules.
story they tried to make it too much of an origin story. I would have just done it like the
Plus,
comics. Like I would have
plus,
focused on the three girls and
yeah.
then their lives being connected by a mysterious character who is Madame Web. So
What
we
they
don't
could have
need to
done
see
too
her
is like,
origin. We don't need to see her. You know,
Yeah, that's the thing.
it's
We
yeah,
about
don't
them.
need
It's about them finding out why they're connected, who Madame Web is, and their part in
or
the
and
Spider Verse.
and people don't need origin stories anymore because
look at Spider-Man,
it's a
Tom Holland.
Spider-Man. But I
Yeah,
mean, I understand that the purists will be upset because you know Maddie and then Sarah Carpenter or whoever, they get their powers from different places. But you can explore that in the next movie in their
Yeah.
individual
Or,
story.
or what they could have done is like, well, Ezekiel was hunting them down. They accidentally get their powers, and he accidentally caused that, and then he accidentally caused his death. That would have been fine.
Oh, but that wouldn't be true to the comics, right? So I
So
totally
what? It's
understand.
something.
I don't think this is true to the comics, but
So I mean, the idea of just make sure that like Tom Holland Spider Man, just plop him in the fucking Avengers
no,
movie.
I mean,
People and
I know
And
it's
then
not.
his trilogy was the origin story,
yeah.
I
right?
know that's the best thing that it wasn't an origin movie, but it was twist
Yeah.
origins
I mean, I
trilogy.
mean,
So that was really
even
good.
the Arpat's Batman, he didn't really have an origin story. He's just like, oh, it's Batman.
Yep. But
Just
we're tired. We're tired with the origin story.
like how many
Unless
times
you're-
would you show like, okay, even if they cast a new Spider-Man, do we really need to see him get bit by a spider again,
Just
right?
give us good
Yeah.
stories. It doesn't have to be
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly. Yeah, I
okay.
mean, yeah,
Enough of this, Madame Web, please.
All right. That's
Let's
it
end it.
for our episode of Madame Web cinematic masterpiece. Next week, if Arnie gets to watch Dune, we'll discuss that. But we also have a safety on the docket, Argyle, which is out on Netflix right now.
Ooh.
Wait, it's not out on Netflix right now,
It's
but it's out
streaming.
on digital right now.
Yeah.
It's out on digital right now. So I'm excited about Argyle because like
Yeah.
people hate it, some people were entertained. So I don't know where I'm gonna fall. I just know that there's a cat there. So sure. Like in a cat and a backpack
I
with a
mean,
bubble.
it's Henry Cavill, Bryce Dallas Howard, good on the eye. So
All
Mhm.
right.
Got
On
it.
behalf of Arnie and Chubax and our special guest Stan, this is our reviews episode. See you in the next week.
Bye bye.
Great.